In a small village surrounded by thick forests and rolling hills, there lived a girl named Alara. She was known for her bright smile and kind heart. Every day, she would help her mother in their cozy cottage, tending to the garden and looking after the chickens. But deep inside, Alara longed for something more than the simple life of a village girl. She dreamed of love and adventure, imagining herself exploring distant lands and meeting brave heroes. Alara often gazed at the stars at night, wishing for a life filled with excitement. Her friends would laugh and tease her about her dreams, but she never lost hope that one day, her life would change. One sunny afternoon, while wandering through the town square, Alara's eyes fell upon Rowan, the blacksmith. He was hammering away at his anvil, his muscles glistening in the sunlight. As she watched him work, her heart raced with a feeling she had never known before. Could he be the hero she had always dreamed of? As Alara stood in the town square, mesmerized by Rowan's skillful work, he suddenly glanced her way. Their eyes met, and she felt her cheeks flush with warmth. His smile was welcoming, as if he had just welcomed her into a secret world of strength and kindness. Alara's heart fluttered as she watched him finish shaping a piece of metal into a beautiful horseshoe. Rowan noticed her watching and approached with a friendly grin. "Hello there. Do you need anything?" he asked, his voice deep but gentle. Alara felt a rush of courage and replied, "Just admiring your work. It's impressive." They ended up chatting, sharing stories about their lives in the village. Rowan spoke with passion about his craft, explaining how each creation held its own story. With every word he spoke, Alara felt more drawn to him. She loved his dedication and the way he treated everyone around him with respect. In that moment, she knew she had found someone special, a strong soul who could embark on adventures with her. Days passed, and Alara found herself thinking about Rowan constantly. Every time she saw him in the village, her heart raced with excitement. One afternoon, as the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the landscape, Rowan invited her to a quiet spot near the riverbank. The water sparkled like diamonds as they sat together on the grass. With a nervous smile, Rowan took Alara's hands in his strong ones. "Alara," he began, his voice soft yet confident. "I know we haven't known each other long, but I can't imagine my life without you. Would you do me the honor of becoming my wife?" Alara's heart soared at his words, feeling like she had stepped straight into a fairy tale. Her eyes sparkled with joy as disbelief mixed with happiness. "Yes, yes, I will marry you," she exclaimed. In that moment, surrounded by nature's beauty and Rowan's warmth, she felt as if all her dreams were finally coming true. Excitement bubbled inside her as thoughts of their future together danced in her mind. A few days after their engagement, Alara visited Rowan's home, eager to learn more about the life he led as a blacksmith. His cozy cottage was filled with the scent of fresh bread and the sound of hammers ringing against metal. Rowan welcomed her with a warm smile, showing her around his workshop, where tools hung neatly on the walls and glowing coals danced in the forge. As they explored, Alara felt a sense of belonging. However, her curiosity led her to wander toward the barn at the back of the property. The barn door creaked loudly as she pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit space filled with hay and tools. But something caught her eye, a faint whimpering sound coming from a shadowy corner. Alara's heart raced as she stepped closer and gasped in horror. There, chained to a post, was a small child with tear-stained cheeks and frightened eyes. Confusion washed over Alara as she struggled to understand what was happening. Why was there a child in Rowan's barn? What secret was he hiding? Alara's heart pounded in her chest as she knelt beside the child, who flinched at her approach. The small figure was dirty and trembling, with wide eyes filled with fear. Alara gently reached out a hand, trying to comfort the child. "It's okay," she whispered softly. "I'm here to help you." But as she looked around the barn, questions flooded her mind. How could Rowan keep a child chained up like this? A wave of disbelief washed over her. The kind and gentle man she loved seemed so different now. She felt a mix of anger and sadness for the child, realizing that something terrible was hidden beneath Rowan's warm exterior. Alara's thoughts raced as she considered her next steps. Should she confront Rowan right away? Or should she try to free the child first? Every moment felt heavy with uncertainty as she looked into the child's frightened eyes, promising silently that she would not leave him there alone. She needed answers and had to figure out what was truly happening in Rowan's life. With her heart racing, Alara stormed back to the house where Rowan was tending to his forge. She felt a surge of determination, knowing she had to confront him about the child. "Rowan!" she called out, her voice trembling with emotion as he looked up from his work, surprised by her urgency. "What is it, Alara?" he asked, stepping closer. His brow furrowed with concern when he saw the look on her face. "You look upset." With courage gathering within her, Alara demanded, "Why is there a child chained in your barn? You need to tell me the truth." Rowan's expression shifted. Pain crossed his features as he sighed deeply. After a moment of silence, he admitted, "I didn't want you to find out like this." He went on to explain that the child was the son of a cruel lord who had threatened Rowan's family. The boy had escaped but was recaptured and imprisoned as punishment for trying to flee. Alara's heart sank as she listened. The shame and fear in Rowan's eyes showed her that his heart was not malicious. It was broken and scared. Rowan's voice trembled as he continued to share his story, the pain of his circumstances evident in his eyes. "The Lord demanded that I capture the boy after he tried to escape. He threatened to take my family if I didn't comply," Rowan explained, his hands clenching into fists. "I had no choice. If I hadn't done what he asked, my loved ones would have suffered." Alara listened closely, feeling a mix of sympathy and heartache for Rowan. She could see the struggle etched across his face, the turmoil between what he felt was right and the desperation to protect those he cared about. "I thought if I kept him here, it would buy time. Maybe I could find a way to help him escape later," he admitted. Tears brimmed in Alara's eyes as she realized the depth of Rowan's fear. He wasn't just a simple blacksmith. He was a man facing impossible choices in a world ruled by cruelty. "You should have told me," she whispered, reaching for his hand. Together, they needed to find a way to set the child free and confront the Lord's tyranny. As Alara stood beside Rowan, her emotions swirled like a storm inside her. She had fallen in love with the charming blacksmith, captivated by his kindness and strength. Yet now, she saw a man burdened by fear and desperation. The revelation that he was forced into such a terrible situation made her heart ache for him even more. Alara, grappling with her feelings, brought forth a powerful mix of love and concern. She admired his bravery in the face of danger, but felt the weight of his struggles pressing down on her heart. How could she be so in love with someone who held such heavy secrets? It was a confusing realization for her, as she had always dreamed of a simple, happy life filled with joy and adventure. But now, love felt complicated, intertwined with danger and urgency. Alara knew that if they were to face the challenges ahead together, she must accept all of Rowan, his charm, his burdens, and their shared mission to save the child from a cruel fate. She took a deep breath, ready to stand by his side through it all. Determined to help the child, Alara began to devise a plan that would allow them to free him without alerting the Lord's men. She knew they had to act quickly, as time was running out for both the boy and Rowan's family. Sitting down with Rowan in the quiet of the barn, she whispered her ideas, making sure to keep their voices low. "We need a distraction," Alara suggested, her mind racing with possibilities. "If we can create a noise or something that draws attention away from the barn, it will give us a chance." Rowan nodded thoughtfully. "I could forge something that makes a loud bang," he replied, "but we'll need to time it just right." Alara's heart was filled with determination as they discussed their escape route, planning every detail carefully. She imagined her courage bolstering Rowan's own as they prepared to face what lay ahead. Together, they were no longer just partners in love. They were now partners in a mission to save an innocent child from a cruel fate. As night fell, Alara and Rowan prepared for the rescue mission, stealthily moving through the shadows. Alara felt a mix of excitement and fear as they approached the barn, her heart racing in rhythm with the plan they had created. Rowan motioned for her to be quiet, and they exchanged determined glances that spoke volumes of their shared bravery. Once they reached the barn, Rowan positioned himself near the door while Alara crept toward the child. With deft hands, she quickly unlocked the chains binding him. The boy's wide eyes filled with hope as he was freed from his prison. Just then, a loud bang erupted from the direction of the forge. Rowan had set off the distraction to draw the attention of the Lord's guards. As Alara led the child towards the exit, her adrenaline surged. Everything depended on their teamwork and accuracy now. Rowan met them at the door, his face set with resolve. Together, they dashed into the night, racing against time to ensure safety for both the child and themselves. In that moment, fear turned into courage as they stood united in their mission to save an innocent life. As Alara, Rowan, and the freed child dashed into the dark, they quickly realized that their escape was far from guaranteed. The village was alive with the sounds of guards patrolling the area, their torches flickering like angry fireflies. The trio carefully navigated through narrow alleyways, hearts pounding with each whisper of movement. Suddenly, they turned a corner and spotted two guards standing just ahead. Alara quickly pulled the child close to her and motioned for Rowan to remain silent. They ducked behind a stack of barrels, holding their breath as the guards exchanged gruff words. The tension was thick in the air, and Alara's hands trembled as she worried they would be discovered. Once the guards moved on, Alara felt a surge of relief. However, they soon encountered a heavy locked gate blocking their path. Rowan examined it closely, his mind racing. "I can't break it down without causing a noise," he whispered urgently. "We need to find another way." Together, they scanned their surroundings, seeking any possible escape route while remaining acutely aware of the dangers lurking nearby. Every decision was crucial as they fought to overcome each obstacle in their path. After what felt like an eternity of navigating through shadows and evading guards, Alara, Rowan, and the child finally found a narrow alley that led to an old wooden gate. With a shared glance of determination, Rowan pushed it open, revealing a quiet meadow illuminated by the moonlight. They stepped into the open air, breathing in the fresh scent of grass and freedom. The moment they were out of the Lord's reach, Alara knelt beside the boy, her heart swelling with relief. "You're safe now," she whispered softly, brushing dirt from his face. Tears filled her eyes as gratitude washed over her. The child looked up at her, confusion fading into a smile as he realized he was no longer trapped. Rowan joined them, his expression a mixture of exhaustion and relief. "We did it," he said, pride in his voice. In that emotional moment, they shared a warm embrace, three souls united by courage and compassion. The child, free at last, had hope restored, while Alara and Rowan felt their bond strengthen through this shared act of bravery. After their emotional escape, Alara, Rowan, and the freed child knew they needed to find a safe place far from the Lord's grasp. The meadow felt peaceful, but lingering shadows of danger still loomed over them. As they ventured deeper into the woods, Alara led the way, guided by her instincts and the hope of a better future. The trio started sharing stories as they walked, forging bonds that would strengthen their new friendship. Alara learned the child's name was Liam and that he loved to draw sketches of nature. "I used to draw butterflies," he said softly, attempting to ease his nerves. Rowan shared tales of his childhood in the village, filled with laughter and mischief. Slowly, laughter filled the air as they bonded over shared joys and fears. This connection gave them strength. They encouraged one another, vowing to find safety together. After hours of walking and supporting each other, they finally found a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. It felt like a sanctuary where they could rest and plan their next steps away from the threat of the Lord's men. United by trust and courage, they felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Alara settled in the cave, her heart was a whirlwind of emotions. They had escaped danger, but the journey had transformed something within her. Watching Rowan interact with Liam, his gentle reassurance and unwavering strength, Alara began to reflect deeply on her feelings for him. True love, she mused, was not just about romantic gestures or fairy tale moments. It was about understanding, compassion, and support during the hardest times. Rowan's past had revealed layers of complexity she hadn't seen before, and it only made her resolve to stand by him stronger. She realized that their bond had grown through shared hardships and victories. Love was about facing challenges together and lifting each other up in moments of fear and uncertainty. As she glanced over at Rowan and Liam, Alara felt a sense of peace wash over her. This was more than an adventure. It was a journey that forged their hearts together. With newfound clarity, she knew she would always support him, no matter what trials lay ahead. Together, they could overcome anything. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Alara, Rowan, and Liam emerged from the cave, feeling rejuvenated and filled with hope. They knew that a new chapter awaited them, one where they could forge their destinies together. The forest around them was alive with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves, promising a fresh start. Alara looked at Rowan and Liam, her heart swelling with gratitude for the bond they had created through their shared experiences. "We need to find a safe place where we can start anew," she said, her voice steady with determination. Rowan nodded, inspired by her strength, ready to protect his newfound family at all costs. Together, they began to walk toward the unknown, relying on each other as they ventured further into the woods. As they journeyed, Alara felt a sense of unity among them. They were no longer just a girl and a blacksmith, but a family bound by love and resilience. With every step, they moved closer to a future filled with brighter possibilities and the promise of adventure.